Hi, Michaela, hi there.
Yes, hi teacher.
Okay. So nobody else has joined. I think it might be because it's Friday. Usually people don't join on Friday. The thing. But anyways, we're gonna start, and today we're gonna finish practicing task number one. So it's our last class for task number one of the speaking section. And with that, we're done.
I have a question, teacher. Today is our last day.
What's your group?
I don't remember. I have to see my
I'm gonna see.
WhatsApp
I'm
group.
gonna check. Yes. What's the name of your WhatsApp group?
It's TOEFL 0602.
No.
I think it's
So
February 6th.
yeah, February 6th. Probably not, because it's supposed to be like 1 month and a half. But
Oh,
let's
okay.
see.
Yeah, that's
Actually, yes, today's your last class. Yes, because with you guys, we started on the speaking task number 2, right?
yeah.
Yes, so it should be your last class because we're doing speaking 1. Yes, we started with speaking 2. Today's your last class.
Oh, okay. Thank you, teacher.
Okay, so if you have any questions, anything, or maybe anything that you'd like to practice, then we can do that today.
Okay.
Okay, let's see. Okay. So remember that for this question, you just get the question, you get 15 seconds to prepare, and you need to answer it in 45 seconds, thinking of your opinion, one reason, and at least one example where you have to use specific details. Let's see. Okay. Hi, Rennie. Hey there.
Good afternoon to everyone.
Good afternoon. Please don't forget turning your camera on. And as we start, this is going to be the first question we do today. It says, if you were given the choice of a schoolwork assignment, if you were given the choice of a school or work assignment, would you prefer to write a long report or give a speech in front of a large group of people? Use details and examples to explain your choice. So, a long report or a speech in front of people. You guys will now have 15 seconds to prepare your responses. Okay, so we'll start with Michaela. You'll go first. So please, you may start speaking now.
Okay. I prefer to give a speech in front of a large group because for me it's easy to talk in front of a large group and it helps you to Oh, sorry, teacher. Mm, oh, sorry, teacher. I forgot the template. So can
Okay.
you share it, please?
Yes,
Can I?
but for this one, you don't really need a template, right? Remember your template is just the introduction, which is how you start, and it's okay. You could say, I would definitely say that I prefer to talk in front of people. And you need to say since, what you said, right? You said because, the same. And you need to give your reason, right? Reason one. So because it's easy for me to talk in front of people, I'm really good at speaking.
Yeah, sorry. Can I use also due to instead of because, or instead of since or because, can I use due to?
Yes, you can use due to, but remember that there's a difference, right? Between you due to or due to the fact that. So if
Oh,
you use it correctly, it's fine.
okay, no problem.
Okay. So we were saying, I would definitely say that. That's your opinion. You say since and your reason, and then don't forget your example, right? So for instance, for example, and then you need to have your example. That's the template. It's the easiest one. Is that okay, Michaela?
Yes, teacher. Thank you.
Okay. Please go again. Try again. I think that you were a little bit distracted because you were the first one going. But try again.
Okay. I definitely prefer to give a speech in front of a large group of people, since it helps me to have more confidence. For example, when I expose in front of my classmates when I was school, it helped me so much with my confidence and to learn more about the topic.
Okay, great. Thank you, Michaela. So some tips. First, I mean, you had your introduction. It was great. I like the fact that you used the same verb. And since this is like an imaginary situation, you used would, right? So you say, prefer, I would prefer. Great. It was direct, your introduction. You have your reason. It helps me with my confidence. Nice. Now, the only tip I can give you is for the example, try to make it more specific, right? Give specific details. So you are saying, when I present in front of my classmates, it's helpful. But basically, that was already your reason, right? You're not saying nothing new in the example. So give me more details in the example. You can tell me, for example, when I was in college, I was enrolled in this oral, I don't know, yeah, in this maybe oral speech class. And we were constantly being asked to present in front of our classmates. And that experience helped me get through this and that, right? Talk more about specific examples instead of talking about things in general, right? Because it's just your reason what you're repeating. And remember, if you have more than 10 seconds or if you have 5 seconds at the end, you can go with a short conclusion, right? Don't let that time go. Do you guys have any questions so far? No questions here. Okay. Let's look at this one. It says, do you think that eating healthy food is easier or more difficult today than it was 40 or 50 years ago? Use examples and details to support your answer.
That's
You now
okay.
have 15 seconds to prepare response. Okay, sorry. So we're gonna go with Gamaliel now. Please, you may go ahead.
I think that eating healthy food is easier in nowadays than was 40 or 50 years ago, because just more just many information about the foods in internet, easy access to a nutritionist. In the past, people only eat things available.
Okay, great. In the past, people only ate, right? Careful with the tenses. But it was great. Actually, I like the reasons. The only thing, and it's the same that we were saying yesterday, you're taking too long in your introductions. Just by saying your opinion, you took about 25 seconds. You started with your reasons when you were 20 seconds left. And that shouldn't be that way. So you really need to hurry up in the beginning. That's the easiest part. What you did later was even more complicated and you did it faster than the introduction. So you need to hurry up in the introduction. Summarize the question. So it's okay the way you started. I like that you use the same verb. Do you think that eating healthy food? So I think that eating healthy food is easier today. That's enough, right? And it should be at most 8 seconds. So that'd be my only tip. Make sure that you always hurry up in the beginning. Guys, do you have any questions so far? Okay, so here we have, do you agree or disagree with the following statement? Children should receive money for doing household tasks such as cleaning. Use specific examples and details to support your opinion. You have 15 seconds now to prepare your response. So we're gonna go with Renina.
Okay, for me, right?
Yes, you can start speaking now.
Okay. I would definitely say that I'm agree about children should receive money for doing housework. You know why? Because there is a phrase named "no money, no honey." That it means that if you receive a payment for something, you are going to do it better, and that makes that the children, since same age, they start learning how to manage their own money, and this is good because when they are going to be adults, they will be easier to find the ways to improve or to invest money, not not lavish money. Lavish.
Okay, great. Oh, nice. You had your introduction. Careful there with the verb agree, right? Remember that in Spanish we do use the verb to, we say, yo estoy de acuerdo, right? But in English, it's just a normal verb. I agree.
Yeah, that's
As for the body of your response, I noticed that you have 2 reasons. My advice would be if you're gonna give 2 reasons, which is great, you know, there's no problem there. You need to go try to make them really separated and try not to mix them. Because you started talking about, you mentioned this quote, and you started talking about how if you give children money, they will do the tasks better. But then you focused on how this will help them learn how to manage their money. So you mix the 2
Okay.
ideas at once, okay? Try to separate. You can do something like this. You can say, first of all, when you give children money, they will do their household tasks better. For example, don't forget that you need an example, and tell me, my little cousin gets $5 for every household task they do during the week. And we've been noticing that the way they do it, they put a lot of effort and it's really working, right? And then if you want to add another one, that's fine, but have a transition and tell me. Secondly, when you give them money for doing tasks, they will learn how to organize, how to manage their money better. So in the future and blah, 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 right? Make sure that you have the ideas separate. And don't forget your examples. Is that okay? Do you guys have any questions? Okay, let's go with this one. Some university students choose to take difficult classes, even if they know they might not get a good grade in the class. Other students prefer to take easier classes in which they know they will get a good grade. Which do you prefer? You will now have seconds to prepare your responses.
Student chose to take the difficult class even if they know.
Okay. So maybe Wilder, you can start speaking now.
I will definitely say that I prefer taking easy classes, since I have the belief that university is a place where you don't have to suffer only for showing others that you are not capable. For instance, I believe in my personally, I prefer having easy tasks and finishing fast than trying to pass hard subjects that I know will put me in risk in my career.
Okay, thank you. So that was a great response. Congrats, really. So you have your intro, you have your reason, and your example too. You talked about yourself there. The only thing, as I usually say, don't forget the details, right? So what classes do you consider are easy? Maybe you can mention a few of them. What are the difficult classes that you avoid, right? Don't forget those details. But in general, it was a really well structured, good content, good grammar too. So good answer. Okay, guys. Any questions so far? Okay. Let's look for other questions. I think we're done. Okay. So we'll do this one now. The question says, explain whether you agree or disagree with the following statement. Robots will replace a majority of the jobs in the next decade. Then give specific details in your argument. Okay? You have now 15 seconds to prepare your responses. Okay, so we're gonna go with Micaela, please. You can start speaking now.
I totally disagree with robots will replace a majority of the jobs. Since robots cannot do all of the jobs that exist now. For instance, a robot cannot write a good book. or make, I don't know, I think robots, sorry, teacher, I don't know how to respond this.
Okay, but you were going great. You were going really good. Your example was good. A robot cannot write a good book. What else? You know, you should have continued with those examples. And if you really cannot think of anything else, you need to do something, improvise that time that you have left. So you can maybe give another idea, or if you really don't know what to say, go with a conclusion, right? Don't ever give up. You just gave up there. And you were going good. You know, that part of your response was great. But if you do that in your test, then that can affect the entire response. You know, everything that you did before is not going to be considered. So careful. And actually what you said is great. You know, you had your good introduction, careful there. And this is really common, you know, when they say, explain whether you agree or disagree with the statement. When you say, I agree with something, it has to be something, right? It has to be only a noun. So I agree with the statement, I agree with the sentence, I agree with the claim. But if you're going to have a full clause, like a full idea, then you need to say, I agree that, or I disagree that. So I totally disagree that robots will replace a majority of the jobs in the next decade. And then your reason was great. There are many things that robots cannot do the same as humans. You have your example too, so you should have just continued. Okay, the tip is just gonna be don't give up on your response. So is that okay? Do you guys have any questions before we continue? No? Okay. So here we have only digital textbooks should be available for university students. Do you agree or disagree with that statement? Make sure that you give specific reasons plus supporting details in your article. You will now have 15 seconds to prepare your responses. Okay. So let's go with Rennie.
That's okay.
Okay, you may go ahead.
I would definitely say I disagree with that statement. For example, for hundreds of years, many university people studied with books, and it was not necessary digital textbooks. If you want to be available digital, is depends of you. For example, a lot of people prefer studying with digital, others prefer studying with physical. If we say everyone must study only with digital, it will be affect to people who is used to work with textbooks in physical. That's why I disagree with that.
Okay, nice. So great. I like the fact that in this case you had two ideas too. For hundreds of years, students have been using physical textbooks. That was one idea.
Yeah.
So you need to change. And you had another one and you separated them. So it was good. Careful with the transitions. Careful not to overuse the transition, for example. You started, you gave your introduction and directly went to, for example, right? Even though that wasn't necessarily an example, that was the reason. So careful not to use it in the wrong place.
That's true.
Okay, guys. Any questions? Is that okay?
Teacher, see, I have a question.
Yes.
What is the opposite of digital textbooks? Textbooks in physical, or how can I say this word?
Physical textbooks is fine.
Physical textbooks. Okay, that's okay.
Okay, let's go for another one. Mm. Okay, here we have. Explain whether you agree or disagree with the following statement. Children should not be allowed to play video games. Then give specific details in your argument. You will now have 15 seconds to prepare your responses. Okay. So let's go with Gamaliel, please. You can start now.
I agree with the statement about children should not be allowed to play video games, because the video games can expose children to violence, and children can't play in free places like parks, for stay playing video games in their houses.
Okay. Oh, and that last idea. Children can play in free places, you said?
Yep.
What do you mean?
For example, the video games, how you say impide?
Prevent?
Uh,
What prevent? What do you want to say exactly?
Prevent. Well, the video games prevent physical activities like run, like play baseball, like play basketball.
Oh, okay. I know what you mean.
The children prefer staying home in their homes and play video games for hours. But
Okay.
it's another problem, because people start play video game in 9 a.m. And end in 10 p.m. o'clock.
Okay. So yeah, that's totally true. Okay, so that was a good response. And in that case, if what you meant was that they are not going out there and playing other types, maybe practicing sports or just being outside in the world, then you had two ideas, right? You thought the first one was that with video games, children are exposed to violence, and second, that they're not doing physical exercise, right? They're staying at home, maybe being sort of imprisoned. Maybe they're addicted, right? Okay. Now, some tips. First of all, careful and practice the pronunciation of some of the most common words that you'll have here in the independent speaking. So for example, words like statement, careful there, right? Try to pronounce it like that, statement. Remember that this A, it has the long sound here, so statement. And allowed. You're probably gonna see those words a lot in the questions. Statement and allowed. And careful as to grammar, remember that children is already plural, right? So what's the singular of children? Does anybody know?
Child.
Exactly. So if you want to refer to only one kid, you can say a child. And if you want to refer to kids in general, so in plural, you can say children, right? Because children is already plural. Children means niños. So careful not to say children's, right? And many questions are about children, so careful there. Now, as for the content, if you had those two ideas, make sure same thing that I told Rennie, to separate your ideas, right? With transitions. Tell me, I disagree, or I agree that children shouldn't be allowed to play video games. First, they are exposed to violence when they play video games. And secondly, they are not, or they are becoming addicted and they stay at home all day playing video games, right? So separate your ideas a little bit more, careful with the grammar, and don't forget your details, right? I need those details. If you're saying that video games are a source of violence or they showcase violence to children, maybe give me an example of a video game that's very violent. And if you don't know one, make up something, right? You can say, there's this video game called, I don't know, Guns N' Roses, maybe. I know that maybe that doesn't make sense, but they won't care, if you just make it up. There's this video game called this that portrays this and this and this, that shows guns or that shows murders or things like that. I need those details in your response, okay? That'll be the only thing. Do you guys have any questions so far? Okay, let's go with this one. Okay, the question says, explain whether you agree or disagree with the following statement. There is such a thing as love at first sight, which means that you can tell in the first 30 seconds of meeting a person whether or not you will be able to fall in love. Then give specific details in your argument. So you guys will have 15 seconds to prepare your responses. Okay, guys, so let's go with Wilder, please. You can start now.
I disagree with a statement that says that there is such a thing as love at first sight, since I believe that people fall easily in love just by the physique, but for having the real world where the love, there should be a relationship where both meet each other. For example, I have a friend that always fall in love at the first sight, but he never goes to talk with that person. He only gets attracted. So I believe that is more attraction than other thing.
Okay, great. And great conclusion, really. So nice, really. You have your reason. So it's not really love, it's attraction. It's by the physical appearance. You had your example, which was personal. I have a friend that says that falls in love. And then you had a short closing idea too. So no comments, really. That was a great response. What do you think, William? Is there anything that you would add? Anything that you were missing? Anything that you've changed from your response?
Maybe the template, the way it should be answered.
Like how so? What do you mean?
The introduction, for example, I will definitely say that.
Okay. It's fine if you don't use that, right? Remember we said it's even better if you directly answer the question. The question here, or the task, the instructions are, explain whether you agree or disagree. So it's even better if you say, I disagree that love at first sight exists, right? Or I disagree with this statement. Or I don't agree with the fact that love at first sight exists or is a thing. So it's okay if you don't use that same template. As long as you're answering the question directly, it'll be okay. So what do you guys think? Do you have any questions before we continue? Okay, let's do this one. It says, do you agree or disagree with the statement? college students should not be required to take general education courses. Make sure that you give the specific reasons plus supporting details in your argument. Okay? You will have 15 seconds to prepare your responses. Okay. Let's go with Mikhail. You can start now.
I totally agree that college students, I totally disagree that college students should not be required to take general education courses, since it's important to know the history of your country, know about literature. For instance, if you want to take a scholarship, they evaluate your courses. So yeah, in conclusion, I think it's important. Did I think I confused the question?
Why? It was okay. You said that you disagree, so that they should be required. It's
Oh,
okay. Yeah, you were about to get confused, right? You were saying that you agree. You know, in these cases, when it's a little bit complicated to understand, and in order to like avoid the risk, it's fine if you don't repeat the same, right? You just go with something that what your opinion is without saying agree or disagree. So you could say, I think that college students should take these courses, right? So that's fine as well. And that's less confused because yes, it is a little bit hard to understand when you say, I disagree that college students should not be required, right? It will be even better if you said, I agree that college students should be required. So both of them could be, but if it's a little bit confusing, then go with something simpler, right? So I totally agree that they should take general education courses. It's fine. But great. So you have your reason. It's important to know to have a general knowledge of the world. You gave details. You talked about literature, the history of your country, and you have as an example applying to a scholarship, right? Maybe that example was a little bit incomplete. I didn't really understand the relationship between like applying to a scholarship and taking general education courses. What was the relationship there?
Okay, the relationship there was when you apply for a scholarship, the university so the courses you take it, and when you take a general education, you have an advantage.
Hey, great. I love that. I would love it even more if you had used it as a personal example, right? For instance, in my case, when I was in university, I applied to scholarship and my university checked the courses that I had taken. And since I took general education courses, that gave me an advantage, right? When competing with the other students. Or the opposite, I didn't take any general education courses and I couldn't get the scholarship and I lost it to somebody that did. Right? So it's better if you make it personal. And I think you can do it, Michaela. In your case, I would recommend that you try to do it. You're gonna get a better score if you use a personal example. Okay? Okay, guys. Let's see, let's do another one. Okay, this seems
Teacher, sorry, I've got a question for you. How is the name of this app where we can find some topics to explain or to give opinions? Because there is some questions that it would be necessary to give our opinions, and I want to share or I want to find this link.
okay. I can share it with you if you want me to.
Okay,
It's called
thank you.
bettertoeflscores.com. Better TOEFL scores.
Okay.
They probably have more material on TOEFL. You know, they see vocabulary, TOEFL block lessons, private lessons. But
That's
yes, you
okay.
have 90 different questions from all of the types of questions. Okay, let's go with this one. It says, explain whether you agree or disagree with the following statement. Politicians should only be allowed to serve on one term for 2 to 4 years. Then give specific details in your argument. You guys will have 15 seconds to prepare your responses. Okay, so let's go with Rainy. You can go now.
Okay. I would definitely disagree with that because since my viewpoint of learning many things about politics or economy is not good for the economy of country. You know, because there will be elections for more time, and it will be more spending for the government. And there is even a lot of changes, and this is not good for each country. You know why? Because businessmen or investment that are given for previous governments, they need to exchange or they need to change for a little, and it won't be good thing from investors.
Okay, okay. Well done. Good introduction. Careful with the expression, right? Maybe instead of, because since my viewpoint, I'm not sure if that exists, but you can say from my perspective. Okay, so from my perspective,
Okay.
studying the economy. Now, as for the response, I think that you have too many ideas. Right? We talked about different things, and at the end, when you talk about too many ideas, you get lost. The listener gets lost. So I got lost a bit. I wasn't sure what was the main idea of your answer, and I should have that main idea, one or two main ideas, but it needs to be better structured. Because you talked first about, you said that it's not good for the economy to have so many elections or so many frequent elections. You said that there are too many changes when they change governments. And then you talked about business investments. So it was just too much for 45 seconds, okay? During those 45 seconds, you should have one or two ideas at most, but having three is never a good idea. So one or two. If you have two, you need to have them separated. And don't forget the examples, right, or the details. You could have talked about the situation in your country or even make it up if you want. Okay? So that is going to be my tip. Try not to overwhelm the listener too much. Do you have any questions, Renny? Is that okay?
See, everything is okay.
Okay, great. Let's continue then. So we have, some people believe that it's necessary to have a pool when purchasing a house. However, others prefer not to buy homes with pools. Which view do you support? Give some details to support your response. Okay, so pool or no pool? You will now have 15 seconds to prepare your responses. Okay. So let's go with Wilder. Please, you can go now.
I don't support the idea that houses should have a swimming pool. The reason is because I believe it's another big cost to maintain it clean and to fulfill it. And in addition, I believe you will use it once or twice in a year. So it is another waste of space that you could use it for a warehouse or a specific place that you would like to have as a basketball patio or soccer field.
Okay, great. Nice. I like those details. That was really good. Those details were great. And yeah, your response, now you had two ideas, but they were separated. You used the correct transition. You said, in addition, I believe, and you introduced the second idea. You're going to use it once or twice. And the first idea was great too. Your introduction was good. I like it sounded natural. You didn't exactly use the same, but it was totally clear, no way to get lost. And you made it on time, and you had those details, which is what I was expecting. So well done, Reader. Great response. Nice. And we can do one more. Let's do one more. We haven't done anything about the environment, have we? Let's do something for the environment. Okay, the question says, because of alarming increases of carbon emissions, some believe that consumers should be forced to buy electric cars if they do not want to use public transportation. Do you think that it is a good idea to force consumers to buy electric cars? Support your points with specific examples and details. So you will have 15 seconds to prepare now. All right. So Gamaliel, please. You can go now. I can hear you, Gamaliel. I think there might be something wrong. Hmm? So we cannot hear you. Or can anyone hear Gamaliel? Is it just me? No? I think it might be your mic.
No?
Now I can hear you now. Great.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Disagree with the idea that the customers should be forced to buy electric cars. I think this is not the way for prevent the carbon emission to atmosphere, because only create that kind of cars have an impact in the environment and the planet. For example, the lithium is a mineral which extract to the earth, and it's like a mineral, like petroleum, oil, like oil and gas.
Okay, Gamaliel, nice. I really liked your response. So I love the fact that you didn't take long in your introduction. It was straight up, it was fast. You took 8 seconds, great. Your reason too, it was really cool. So it's not the way for preventing carbon emissions going into the atmosphere. And you also said that there are other things that contaminate too, right? And you gave an example, 2 specific examples. So really, in terms of content, it was perfect. In terms of time too, So maybe there are like some grammar points, but that wouldn't really affect that much your score. So well done, Gamaliel. That was really great. Nice. Nicely done. Okay, guys. So what do you think? Today was our last class with practicing task number 1. Well, not tomorrow. On Tuesday, we'll be starting with the following questions of the speaking. Do you have any questions, anything at all that you'd like to say before we go, before we finish today's class?
Is there homework for this week?
No, you guys won't be having any homework. I mean, your homework is always going to be to practice what we do, right? So you have this website, you can practice. You have 90 questions here. I honestly recommend you answer all of the 90 questions because the topics are great and they are the same topics that you'll have in your TOEFL test. So maybe you will have a question similar to that. So practice, analyze your responses, and that'll be your homework. You know, you need to practice as much as you can.
That's okay.
Any other question? No? Okay, guys. So then I'll see you on Tuesday. Please don't forget to complete today's survey before you leave.
Okay, I'm done.
Okay, guys. Thank you so much. See you on Tuesday. Have a great weekend.
See you around.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye. Oh yes, yeah. That was